Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to Coffee Break. This is Dr. Michelle Alignay. I know I'm coming in early a bit today, but I would like to be early in our discussion on stress over stress. So I hope that you can join me for the next 30 minutes and that we can explore how stressed we are, what are we doing about it, and what is really stress for us. I would like us to go deeper on how we can understand stress better. So I hope that I know that we all had difficulty connecting to maybe Facebook earlier, but I hope that you can check this out via YouTube or Facebook, and then tomorrow this will be already in Spotify. So this is Dr. Michelle Alignay. I hope that you are well today. I am greeting you this week, and I hope that you can share with me your thoughts regarding my questions. We can engage, we can interact. But before I start, I think we have some people here already. I would like to greet everyone. And the most important thing that the most important people that I would like to greet today are the teachers. Happy World Teachers Day. Siyempre, I am one teacher myself. And although I'm not teaching full time, I teach part time. And ever since I've been raised and I've honed my profession and expertise in the academy. So I'm really a teacher by heart. So this is actually a way for me to teach and to reach out to many, to do this live stream and to be able um, to access you, for us to connect and to share. So share with me your thoughts. So wait, huh? I just need to do just one thing. So let me go through with you what we're going to talk about this week, just for today. I would like to ask, what's the first thing? Oh, we have some viewers already. What's the first thing that comes to your mind whenever you hear the word stress? So stress, diba? Stress spelled backwards, spelled backward is stress. Why did I choose this topic? I realized that I have not explored this topic since last year. And I would like to share with you that I'm doing a lot of corporate trainings. That's really the work that I do. Either I teach in the college or in the graduate school, and I do consulting work, talks and trainings, and programs for some organizations. And what I realize is that we need to find ways to be able to support us, because even people working from home are actually experiencing a lot of stress. So somebody here is saying exhausted. Yes, you're correct. So what comes to your mind when you hear the word stress? What is stress for you? Alam niyo, iba-iba rin naman yung definition natin yan. At iba-iba rin yung impact sa atin ng stress. So yan yung maganda natin makita. And when I was thinking of the topic to hold for this week, I realized, why not go back to the basic? Why not just talk about stress, wherein a lot of people are actually in the middle of it? Am I correct? So if you are stressed, please take down notes and take time off from your chores, take time off from whatever you're doing, and please find time to just sit down and listen first, to work on yourself, not on your stress. That's the goal. Why am I doing it? Kaya the topic is stressed over stress. We are stressing so much about the stresses in our lives that we fail to look into the other area, and that is ourselves, our well being. So, I'm going through again my question. What comes to your mind when you hear the word stress? So, Jean said exhausted, Christina biting off more than you can chew. Yeah, Mary Jane, that's correct. Work. So, define stress and what stress is for you. Ano ba para sa atin yung stress? And let me just let me just go through with you that Rose is saying problems. Actually, stress is anything that we believe is beyond our capacity. Kaya nga stress, di ba? Can you stress the point? Stress is actually an engineering term. It's actually an engineering term that there's pressure given somewhere. Di ba? That makes sense. There is pressure somewhere. And stress in the line of psychology, it's actually connected to well-being. Now, it's very different because there's there's workplace stress, there's family stress, and then there's personal stress. But what we need to understand is how all these are interplaying now. because our reality is that many of us are working from home, still on lockdown, still in the middle of the pandemic. We need to find ways to be able to navigate the stress. We cannot really take away stress in our lives. So, I would like you to understand that stress can have a very negative effect if it's left unmanaged. Okay, so let's start. Let's start. Sources of stress. I would like to ask you, what are your sources of stress? I would like to just get a bit of what you are into. I would like to get an insight of what's happening to you, even though we're live stream. This is my way of connecting. This is my way of understanding where you're coming from, and for you to understand also that hey, there's hope. There's something that we can do, diba? Um, Schoolwork, yeah. If you are a student, likely it's schoolwork. What else are you stressed about? Anyone? Are you here with me, friends? Schoolwork. So what are we stressed about? Schoolwork. What else? Wala na? Wala na tayong kinakastressan? Really? We, in this pandemic, kaalat. Huwag ka na ma-stress dyan, friend. Normal na yan. Deadlines, totoo yan. Managing kids while doing household chores. Well, that's another reality. Illness. Yes. In the middle of the pandemic, di ba? The illness of the family, it's actually the one that's gravitating a lot. Just ended a relationship. Oh, hugs to you, my dear. Relationship. Okay. Can I just tell you this? That what the truth about stress is that there are two areas where stress is coming from. And if you look at all your questions, if you look at your answers, deadline, deadlines, uh, schoolwork, uncertainty, kalat, deadline, workload, kids, illness, traffic, mommy duties, motivating your child to focus on their studies. Okay, let me just dissect. I'm going to take it off from your answers, but there are 2 points of stress. One, it's external stress, and the other one, the internal stress. What are the external stress? So when you say it's about work, school work, something gave it to you. Kalat, kinalat ng iba. Deadlines, somebody set the deadline. Workload, yes, because you're employed, so you're given the workload. Illness, most of it are beyond our control. A relationship that ended, it may be an external, but it may be an internal. Traffic, mommy duties. The regular part of mommy duties is actually part of life. But I would like you to know, are you still with me, friends? Many stress are external. They are events, circumstances like what we have in the middle of the pandemic, and people. The attitude of people, they're so external to us. But do you know what's the biggest source of stress? Do you know what's the biggest source of stress? Can you ask me what? Can you put that in the chat? Can you what's the biggest source of stress? Can you put that into chat? Do you have a guess? Who among you have a guess? What's the biggest source of stress? Because I will take off from some of the things. So overthinking, what? Ceci, overthinking, it's actually based on our thinking. The biggest source of our stress is our thoughts. Let me just go through with you. I'm not going to mention names, but look at your answers here. Let's go back. Problems. Problems, it's actually there. It can be external, but it's upon our thought patterns. It's upon the way we think about it. Will I treat it as a big problem, or maybe I can just treat it as a smaller problem? Uncertainty na rin. Uncertainty can be a big source of stress if you allow it to get to you. If you try to live in the future and you try to control the things that are beyond your control, and that's actually where overthinking comes. That's actually very stressful. kalat. If you look at kalat as a way for your kids to be productive, your kids' way to be very active, engaged, and playful, you might say that it can be stress, but it can be a blessing also because your kids are happy because they have kalat. So it's up to you to choose on how you're going to use your thoughts to handle the stress. Deadlines is actually beyond us. It's a workload. Kasama naman talaga yan sa buhay eh. Managing kids while doing household chores. So what do you manage? Are you managing your kids or do you know how to tone down your expectations, your level of what you call this expectations about your kids' illness is actually um, external to us, but it can affect us. Mommy duties and overthinking. Yes, overthinking can actually be um, based on our thoughts. Motivating your child to focus on their studies. You can choose because it's actually your child who will focus on their studies. So if they will not heed you, it's actually, we can actually choose, will I make this a stress or will I choose to just smile and support my kids no matter what? So, homeschool, house chores piling up, being available to everyone. Actually, you can choose which one. Will you fret over all this? So, someone sending mixed signals, then gets mad, then tells you he doesn't want you even to be his friend. All this is really crazy. So, it's actually in an internal stress because it's up to also how we interpret it. So are you getting what I'm saying here? Thinking the worst case scenario, so self pressure, yes, because actually we can look at this. We cannot do anything about the pandemic. When was doing one workshop last week for a corporation, this is what I do. I asked them also about the stress they have. And then somebody said, the pandemic is no longer the main source of stress. It's how we're coping with it. Are you getting me? The pandemic is not actually the main source of stress. In this time and age, in this season of our lives, it's actually how we're dealing with it. Are you getting me? It's how we are dealing with it. It's how we think about things. It's what how we are choosing which one would actually stress us. Papastress ba ako dito? Or papabayaan ko na lang siya? Because we might be operating on our pre-pandemic mind, our pre-pandemic thought patterns, our pre-pandemic perspective, our pre-pandemic ways. Are you still there, friends? Because we're almost 1.5 years running into this pandemic. And if you would tell me now that you're still so stressed because it's so hard for you to do things, I really invite you to keep another closer look on the realities of what are you really stressing about. Is it worth stressing? So that's my question to you. What are you really stressing about? Is it worth stressing? Is it the problem of stress? Because stress will always be there. I would like to tell you the truth about stress. Okay? First one, stress is a part of life. There's no, I think there's no perfection in life. If we say that I am praying that there's no longer stress in my life, baka deads na tayo nun. You know what I mean, friends? So even if you say that, but sana maubos na yung stress. Hindi siya maubos. Hihinga lang tayo for a while. But actually, each day is presented with different packaging of stress. And there could be even stressors. The things, the realities given to us, when we see that it's beyond our capacity to adapt, it's actually stress. But the stressor happens when there are people, there are situations that adds up to the stress. So there's pandemic situation, it's stressful enough indeed. Homeschooling or managing our kids from home and managing our work, it's stressful enough indeed. But there are people, there are circumstances, there are situations that's adding up to it then that actually are stressors. Kaya lalo tayong nati-trigger because of the stressor. Stressor ko yan eh. Ayan. It's good to identify, is this my stress or is it stressor? And as I mentioned earlier, the biggest stressors are actually our thoughts. And when we look at that, it's part of life. It's part of life if we would choose that this kind of stress I will allow it to get to me or will I just let it go? Diba? well, I just let it go. So stress is actually part of life. As I said, it comes in different packages. It comes in different promo. It comes in different packaging. Iba-iba lang yung dating sa atin. And some people, hindi halatang stress, magaling magdala. But some people can actually be too burdened by stress. But actually, it's part of life. Even if you say that, so when people say that my kids are very stressful, we can actually look at it differently. Being at home with the kids is stressful, but we are mothers, so it's already part of our lives. So your husband may be very stressful, pero di ba we're married people? So while they are stressed, maybe they're part of our support group also. So it can be both ways. Can there be good stress? Yes. Getting married or having a wedding, it's a good stress. Moving to a new home, that's a good stress. Having a baby, that's a good stress. But the other thing that we would like to take note of is that, as I said, the truths about stress, one, it's actually part of life. It will not go away. It will just come in different packages or in different packaging. The second one, stress, the negative stress, the unhealthy stress has what we call, have an impact on our health if left unmanaged. Are you catching me here? This is what I'm diving into. Stress, if left unmanaged, have an effect, an impact, a negative, a negative, a negative. It can create negative results in our well-being. This is where I would like to go. Friends, some stress you can choose not to fret with it and just treat it as, yes, it's normal part of life. So balikan natin dyan. Friends, sa mga sagot nyo, ano ba dyan yung normal naman talaga ng part ng buhay? Nakasama na talaga sa packaging ng buhay nyo. Nandyan na talaga yan. Can you share with me with all the things that you answered or whatever you have in your plate? What is it that's normal already? Oo, asawa. Normal yan. Anak, di ba? Nag-aaral yung anak. Bills to pay. Di ba? Hindi naman talaga dapat na nakaka-stress na yun kasi normal na yun. Normal na yun. Kasama na yan sa packaging. Kasama na yan sa buhay. So I would like you to look into that and assess really where you are here. Are you stressed? Kaya nga I like the title that I thought of. Are you stressed over stress? Nagpapaka-stress ka sa isang bagay na nandyan naman talaga, givens in life. Or is it really the kind of stress that you will be that you're supposed to be stressing over? So when you say that you're so stressed with your kids because they're doing online school, and isn't it that that's already part of the package? Tinanggap na ba natin? Maybe there's resistance. Maybe there's still an acceptance. Maybe there's still lack of alignment. That's why even though in the second year of the pandemic, we're still having a hard time simply because we're having difficulty to still accept and we're still wrestling with the reality. Are you with me, friends? Parang wala nang sumasagot sa akin. I hope that you are all listening. Okay, so which one among there are actually difficult and which one among there it's actually needed? So let's look further, okay? So I would like you to look into also that the third truth about stress, it may compromise our well-being. It may affect our total well-being if left unmanaged. The severe stress that many people have experienced last year may affect their well-being, and it manifests in sickness. It manifests both in physical and mental health. Can you catch me here? So this is where we're diving into. Okay, you are stressed about home, you are stressed about life, but how are you managing it? Yun yung kailangan natin makita. Because you need to look, the stressors pre-pandemic may be different from the stressors now. The stressors pre-pandemic, we have been accustomed to somehow a programmed way of dealing with it. For example, we're stressed about work. It's easy for us because we go to work. So it's easy for us to just wind up our day with a cup of coffee, to just, reflect while walking in the mall, getting your ride, or waiting for a friend. after work. So we need to look into that. That it's different how we're dealing with it as compared to how we do it now, especially if you are on a work from home situation with your family there. The source of love can be the source of stress, right? So here, the stress in our pre-pandemic might be different, might be the same, but actually it's the way we deal with it. And I will just relate to you again and again the quote that I love: problems are not the problem, coping is the problem. Let's apply to stress. Stress is not the problem. Our coping and management of stress, that's the bigger concern. I would like to ask you, friends, are you managing yourself or are you managing your stress? Because that's two different things. Are you managing yourself and your well being, or are you managing your stress? Paano mo sinabi, Doc, na you're managing your stress? Because in the stressors that's happening to us now, we need to look into, tinitingnan ko ba ng mabuti kung ano yung nangyayari sa akin pag ako ay nasa stress? Or whenever there's manifestation of sickness, whenever I have too much emotions, I just self-soothe or I just pad it up with some things to be able to cover up, and then I will just indulge in uh, my favorite series or my favorite drink, but not really address the stress. So you need to reflect on that. Thank you for doing this. Uh, So you have to really manage both. You have to really manage both. So I know that many of us, the common stressor we're experiencing is the demands of work. No matter what work we have, deadlines, long meetings, even the difficulty of our connections, it happens to many. And then even, of course, the challenges with the work itself. Another is the difficult people. 'Di ba? Yun, I think parang in this pandemic, lalong lumitaw kung sino yung mas difficult. Kasi some cannot cope anymore. Yung mga taong akala mo dati madaling kausap, kaya lang hirap nila kausap. Maybe because kanya-kanya tayo ng pinagdadaanan, di ba? Many people are navigating this pandemic not knowing what's really happening inside them anymore. Some have lost loved ones, some have lost resources, some have lost a lot. So we need to be kinder to each other. There might be difficult people, but we hope that we are not the difficult people in our homes, those of you who are listening. And of course, I think many parents like you, many moms like you, are challenged between the demarcation or between the difference between the home and the work. Either you are the integrator or you're the separator. Yung talagang rigidly you're separating work and home. Even if you're home, we're just everything happening here. So really now there's an intersection of everything coming to play in the house. uh, Actually, I realized that the things that I do, my expertise is actually where it's intersecting now. Family life, well-being, and then even the digital life. So lahat yan nag-crisscross now. And it's actually where we are operating. You know what I mean? Can you see what I mean? What else? In what area are you stressed about? Is it demands of work? Is it difficult people or differences with people? Or is it really the demarcation between home and work? Welcome to the club. We all have that. This is the common ground. This is the common life that we have in this pandemic. Ang tanong ko sa inyo, friends, for those of you who are listening, did you already embrace that this is the life that we have? Did you already embrace that this is the life that we have? I would like to wait for your answers. Did you already embrace that this is the pandemic? I'm not going to resist as is for what it is. We don't know the end. Okay, I'm not gonna plan my life yet. I'm not gonna put it on hold, but I'm just maybe plan for the month, plan for the quarter. That's it. And just make the most out of the present moment. Possible? Tanggap na. Yes, Sis Noreen, tanggap na. Very good. Kung sasabihin natin ng not yet, what are we waiting for? Fully embrace Jessie. You know why? Because the longer we resist, the longer that it can cause stress, the longer we are affected. That's why a lot of people, I have to tell you this, are going through anxiety, going through so much overthinking, already at the point of burnout, and having a lot of mental health challenges. Also, they're having a lot of physical health concerns simply because they cannot accept the reality. They cannot accept. Yes, we are adjusting. We don't say that we automatically adjust. But friends, if you have already accepted that these are the new ways that stress is happening in our lives, as is where is, alam nyo, ang saya ng buhay. Kasi, okay, kaya mo nang ngitian. Okay, may stress. Okay, iiyak muna ako ngayon pero mamaya, yan na talaga yan eh. Ano pang magagawa natin? That's how it is. As is what it is. Can you say that with me? As is what it is. How to accept the reality of this pandemic faster? Let go. Let go of control. That's so simple to be said, sis. But I would like to just really just let go of control. We are trying to control too many factors. As I said earlier, there are so many stress that we take inangkin natin pero hindi atin. Dating ng vaccine, politika, inangkin natin yung hindi atin. Kailan matatapos yung pandemya to? Gusto nating angkinin. Gusto nating gawa ng paraan. We want to control the external, but in reality, we cannot. So how do we accept the reality of pandemic? Look at the inner reality in your life. Tingnan mo mabuti. Akin ba talaga tong stress or gusto ko lang angkinin? Baka naman stress ng anak mo, nagpapaka-stress lang tayo. That's where it is. We would like to control too many things outside, but in reality, we're supposed to be looking at what is inside me. Ano ba tingin ko sa pandemya to? Tanggap ko na ba? And then start moving into stressing yourself or having that journey that, hey, I can do something about how I think. I can do something about my process of acceptance. I can start embracing the reality of the present life. I can start just being here at the new normal and make life and make a new life out of it. Am I making sense? I hope I'm making sense, friends, because you look here. Are you stressed over stress, the external stress, or are you supposed to be expending your energy on the inner stress? We need to really shift how we do home, how we do our lives, how we do our work. Meaning to say, we need to shift how we relate, we need to shift how we work, and we need to shift our lives and how we are taking care of our well-being. So there is a need to understand the stressors. You have to check your stressors. Are they outside or inside you? Are you accepting sis as is at it is? Or hindi, tanggap ko na as is where is pero sana? Pero bakit ganun? So we're not really accepting. We're not really doing the embracing part. Gusto lang natin maintindihan. Pero minsan, alam nyo, I realize in this adult life, hindi lahat ng tanong may sagot. Kahit sa love life, lalo na sa relasyon, we want to control factors. We would like to control the X and the Y, but in reality, some things are already givens. And maybe they're just right under our noses on how we can actually do it. Are you still with me? So what are you stressed about? Now let's go back. What are you stressed about? Are you stressed about the externals? Are you putting your energy on the internals? Are you focusing on the externals? Are you stressed over external stressors? Or are you actually dealing with yourself? I would like to take this, Joyce. Thank you for pointing out I am assessing myself being a mom at home and if I am a separator or a mitigator. Thank you. Externals, yes. As your comment, Chrissy, there's the problem of the different levels of acceptance among family and friends. Kung hindi nila matanggap, they are your externals. You cannot force it to them. But if you find peace and reconcile it within you, then the magic happens. Friends, my invitation for this afternoon, are you managing yourself and your well-being or are you managing your stress? Tingnan natin. One example, stress can actually affect our health, both physical and mental health. So when you say na lagi akong masakit ang ulo, Lagi ako nag-anxiety attacks. I'm being flooded by overthinking. I'm becoming cranky and overburdened by my emotions. That's actually a lot of manifestations already that there's so much stress that we are keeping, but we are not managing it. Yes, Chessy, tama ka. Mas madali ma-stress about the external than face your own because when we face the internals, we are actually confronting ourselves. We are actually confronting our weakness. We are actually confronting that truth that you need to accept. Wala ka ng choice. And we need to accept also that, hey, hindi ko kaya lahat. I am not super. I like this bell. Focusing on energy gainers than energy drainers. I'm managing your well being. That's correct. So if you say that you are sick, there's a lot of emotions happening with you, either mental or physical health, and you're showing signs already of anxiety and all, then you might just be managing the externals. But or you're managing your stress. But when you say that I am supporting my well being. I am trying to exercise. I try to sleep well. I am trying to eat better. I am doing other hobbies. I have new things in the house. I am happy even if my kids are showing less motivation for school. Tinanghali sila ng gising. Hindi perfect yung exam nila. I can smile about it. That's actually managing yourself and how you deal with life. So friends, nasan kayo dito? When you have sickness, do you just simply take medicine or inaalam mo, bakit ako bumaba ang resistensya? Bakit ako napupuyat? Saan ako napupuyat? So some people would be very, very, very swamped with work, and I understand that. But instead of trying to do something to be proactive about their health and well-being, what other people do is that they just, indulge in the food that they like, indulge, I deserve naman to watch until the wee hours of the morning but you're losing the important sleep that you need to be able to focus more the next day. Some others think that pag ginawa ko naman tong hobby na to, wala naman akong oras, and something that's istorbo or a waste of time, we really need to shift gears now, friends. I'm gonna tell you, I was chatting one time with a very good friend, and we really cannot tell if the pandemic would be ending next year. We cannot tell yet. But you know one thing that we can tell? One, stress is there. Two, the pandemic is here. And three, we have the internal resources to be able to manage our stress, to be able to manage ourselves and our well being than to manage stress. I'll repeat the third. We have the internal resources to manage ourselves and our well being in order for us to manage stress. What I would like you to move away from is keeping managing your stress. Lahat ng symptoms, sinusolusyonan nyo, pero ayaw nating tingnan yung sarili. And Chessy, tama ka, mas madali mag-face, mas madali tingnan yung stress na nangyayari sa labas, mas madaling tingnan yung ibang tao, sisihin sila, than actually admit our own issues. May impact ba ang hormones natin sa ladies in a specific time of the month when our acceptance or decision to let go of for our stressors? Yes, but why would you allow the hormones to rule you? If you are aware already, I just had my period also. That's my time of month. I know I'm going to be cranky. So I know that I'm not gonna make decisions. I have a loaded weekend, but I would rest. Yesterday I rested. I did not fret when the things that I need to submit I did not complete it because I know I need to reboot. That's what we need to learn. We need to learn to manage the inside so that we will be effective on the outside. When we keep managing the externals and the outside, what happens to the inside? Mas mahirap. Tayong bigat na bigat, ba't mo dadali ng mundo kung pwede naman na dali natin yung sarili natin so mas madali natin madala yung iba. Am I making sense, friends? So, I would like to ask you, check what are you managing? The stress or yourself and your well-being? And on Thursday, I'm going to give you tips on what we can do to be able to manage our stress better by managing our well-being. And I hope you join me in Coffee Break. Please do share this live to family and friends either through Facebook or through YouTube, or this is in Spotify. Please give us a follow. And if you would like to support, you may send stars here in Facebook by sending your digital gift that are called Facebook stars is a way to support Coffee Break and to sustain the expenses that I do for giving these live episodes to you. So I hope, yes, bitin na naman, 30 minutes lang tayo, but I hope that that's already meaty for you guys. And I hope that you send me your thoughts, send me your questions, send me what is your big takeaway today. And let's use this as our springboard for discussion on Thursday. I'll see you again, friends, on Thursday here at Coffee Break with Dr. Michelle.